Hello, and welcome to the Do-It-Yourself Workshop. Oops. Today, we will be assembling a steel shed, a prefabricated steel shed measuring 30 by 30. This particular shed does not have sides as of yet. This was a kit, roof, and structural members only. It's early in the AM hours. In order to save money, we decided to drive to the manufacturer and pick up the kit. So after a 4-hour drive, we're here in the assembly warehouse. We've been loaded and we are ready to strap our load down. Loaded and out the door in 2 hours with another 4-hour drive back to home. This was day 1. Day 2 begins cold, rainy, and disappointing. One of our team members has called and is unable to come to help with the assembly today. And on top of that, he has forgotten to make reservations for the scaffolding that we had planned to use to raise the roof trusses. But he has ordered us a high lift. So we go ahead and start unstrapping and preparing to unload. The site where this structure will be erected was graded prior to receiving the materials. 24 ton of asphalt millings were then applied to the top surface. The structure itself is intended to be assembled directly on the surface. Here we see both side members for the base. Once joined, each side will measure 30 foot. And you can also see the stubs where the posts will be attached and anchored. So the entire building is right here. The base supports, the posts, the trusses, and the roof. Once our lift arrives, things start to move. Sitting in our base camp with a light rain falling, but we've managed to unload all the parts. Seen here are the 1 foot long slip-on rigid collars. These collars are used to assemble the parts, add rigidity and strength. Start out by measuring 6 inches down and mark a halfway line on the collars. All right. Join the base sections as seen here. The joints are anchored by self-tapping screws, which are supplied. Each post will also require a slip-on collar. There are 9 posts, a total of 18. Each post will receive 2 screws per collar. With the light rain falling, we lift our first truss. Attach a post to each side of the truss. Now the opposite side. Anchor with self-tapping screws. So the assembly is pretty straightforward and repetitious. Lift a truss, attach a post. Anchor the post to the base. Repeat 9 times. So here is the final result, the final assembly. All the posts, all the trusses are in position. And remember, we had planned to do this job with 3 men and scaffolding, which we could have done, but not quite as easily. After about 5 hours of assembly, the rain held off long enough for us to complete the framing members. And now, as you can see, we're done for the day. Day 3 is a chilly but sunny, dry day. We begin by anchoring the structure to the ground. The plans to anchor the structure call for drilling 9 half-inch holes in the base support beam. We decided against drilling any holes in the base beam and instead decided to use lengths of chain wrapped around the base and driven into the ground with the supplied rods. Our base beam is hole-free. Next comes the 30-foot-long metal roof sections. With our 3-man crew now complete and the first section of the roof having been lifted and placed on top of the roof trusses, this first section of roof is the most critical section of the entire roof. Its placement must be exact, as its position will determine the final position of the additional roof sheeting members. After that first roof sheet has been hoisted to the roof trusses and adjusted so that the entire roof will conform within the boundaries of the structure. Each additional sheet is hoisted above the trusses and merely fall into position. We are not advocating for any construction or assembly methods used in this video. Each roof sheet must receive a number of self-tapping screws per sheet per truss member. As the assembly is still unstable, we added a strap between the assembly and the nearest tree, which controlled some of the movement. Continue adding roof sheeting to the very last sheet, but as you add roof sheeting, be aware of the distance from the end of the sheet to the first roof truss. That distance should be fairly equal. This is why it is so important to have that first starter sheet adjusted perfectly. The last sheet is up and being anchored with the self-tapping screws. And as the sun begins to set, we add our final self-tapping screws to anchor all the sections. And there you have it. Not counting the time that we spent driving to the manufacturer, this prefabricated 30-foot by 30-foot metal storage shed took approximately 2 days, consuming 5 hours per day, which would make roughly 10 hours of total assembly time.